On the top left-hand side, our blue Terran player from the Shopify Rebellion. This is ByuN. Taking on the red Protoss in the bottom right from Dragon Phoenix Gaming, we got ourselves Zest. Buddy, do you want a perk box code for Ring doorbells? I ordered a doorbell. I didn't get a video one. I just got a... The problem with the video ones were, like, they have to plug in somewhere or something, and that seemed complicated, so... I'm a simple person, so I just got one that doesn't have video on. It was also a lot cheaper, which is good, because I've realized now I have to save some money to be able to, you know, spend my pay for my tax over the next couple months. So, just went for the basic doorbell for the moment. It looks cool. It has 2 different ringers as well, so I'll be able to put one in my room, and I guess we'll have doorbell sounds in the stream now. Exciting, right? Engineering bay block for ByuN as we kick this off. Zest bottom right, ByuN upper left, and there's a lot of probes pulling. Zest pretty serious about just getting this cancelled and not allowing this to stick around, and so ByuN says, well, if you're going to commit to that and that's what you want to do, let me build another. Let me make this as difficult as possible for you to actually deny. Now that is extra investment on ByuN's behalf. It does take a little bit longer for him to recover from that, of course, as well. So needs to probably do something about that. Needs to be careful with it. You know, you don't want to spend too much money and then not be able to expand at home. And looks like... Okay, are we going to expand? Yeah, it looks like we're going to expand. I was going to say, are we going to go factory first? But no, it's going to be an expand and a reactor. Factory will come a bit further down the line. A lot of the time we used to see this kind of engineering bay block into the factory first, but nowadays a lot of people just like doing it and just going into their own expansion before factory, which for a while a lot of people used to, I think Hostam especially used to tell me it's like, it's stupid, it's dumb, like it makes no sense, right? But there must be some logic behind it, because nowadays it really is a pretty common thing to do, especially out of the Korean players. Have I decided yet about my doorbell? We just had this discussion like 20 seconds ago. I just bought a standard wireless doorbell that has 2 different places it will ring, because I couldn't figure out which ring doorbell to get, / it seemed like you have to plug it in somewhere, and I can't be bothered to figure that out. I just need a doorbell. You missed it. No worries. Just funny that the conversation. We must have literally finished talking about it as you sent your message or something. It's just a little amusing. Twilight Council is on the way, so Zest is going to say, you know what, let's get set up here. Let's get this Twilight Council up and running. So yeah, I mean, obviously a bit of a weird to start with that engineering bay block. Always makes it a little bit different to usual, but a bit of a different start. This Adept going to shade up. Marines are going to fall back. And a couple more Marines in production as well. Stimpack on the way on that barracks. So bringing that through as the bunker's also about to finish up. All of this getting completed as our extra Marines come in. And this Adept trying to shade on forward as well. Trying to have a little look to see exactly what's going on at the moment. So again, a little bit of interest as to what's happening here. There's these few Marines... Again, just going to be sitting up in the main base. Stim, combat shield, plenty of units. It is going to be this 3-rack style. Something that ByuN definitely likes himself as well. Definitely has been a player who very frequently comes up and brings this kind of big bio style. He likes these sort of openings. He likes to be able to just be on the map with a lot of, with a lot of Marine Marauder, quite frankly, you know? And that's just kind of ByuN all over, so... Yeah. Always cool to see him play this, and I always feel like ByuN managed to show up with these armies, and they just kind of hit at times, which, even though I'm sure, Zest has played against 103 racks, sometimes ByuN's times just hit that a little different, and they just show up at the right time, and it just feels like they're at the perfect moment to, like, strike and just get additional damage done, you know? So here comes that Bioforce, heading over to the right-hand side, looking to push through into the between. I'm just gonna come around, gonna go for a sentry. Sentry gets killed, Zell gets killed, other sentry gets killed. Really good damage done across the board here. Just going to see these couple of probes. Gonna get chased down too. So 5 workers already dead. 8, 9, 10. And that number continuing to rise. 14 workers go down. A sentry also. Wow. I mean, like I said, it just feels crazy sometimes. ByuN just shows up and seems to, really manage to deal damage where a lot of people just do okay, but usually get pushed back. In this regard, Zest just did not seem prepared at all. And again, 14 workers and the sentries, right? Like, that to me is the real thing. Not just as this worker damage that puts you down economically, you lose your early game gas investment of the sentries. We're going to see Zest is going to sneak behind this mineral line and try and get some damage done. A couple fresh mules here will be stopped from mining, so it's good damage from Zest, and it definitely helps, but it's necessary damage at that point too, right? If he wasn't doing this, he is just continuing to stay far behind, whereas at least now he's doing a couple things to try and pull this back at least a little bit here. So Zest doing what he can. There's a few Marines of ByuN move on over to the right-hand side. A little bit of Bio over on the left as well, wanting to come through, fighting a little bit. Those few Stalkers taking a few more shots as well. Marines are going to stim on through and just go for even more pros, but the battery is actually healing them up. Going to run out of energy in a moment. Guardian Shield goes up, the sentry pulls back, and this little Marine squad doesn't do much. But it does take the attention of Zest over here, stops mining for a little while longer. Additional damage, and it all racks up in these scenarios, It all racks up. It all becomes a bigger and bigger problem as time passes by. Something to keep in mind. Well, our army's still just sitting on the right side, and we do have our medevacs, marauders, and marines all building. Still just very kind of biocentric here from ByuN, as it's meant to be, but obviously at some stage you expect to see some sort of factory tech coming through, and that is going to be the first set of widow mines now on the way. So finally, that factory gets its own job, rather than just being, oh, build me a reactor, oh, build me a tech lab. That factory can finally be like, okay, I get to build some units. And that will add a lot into this ByuN army, which, by the way, is just kind of moving through the center. There is actually pretty good observer positioning here. Does he have a scan for it? If he does, he hasn't used it. I don't think he has a scan anyway, so yeah, we'll see. For a moment, it looked like he might get through the middle without being seen. Yeah, battery here, I feel like it's so far out. I don't think it even connects to a nexus, so ByuN backs it up, but maybe could have even kept on fighting, especially, your +1 attack upgrade is here. You've got medevacs now too. Looks like he was aware of that observer. The way he positioned kind of suggested it earlier. He didn't have the scan energy to drop it and deny it. That's going to be seeing this little force of ByuN still moving around in the middle of the map. Marauders and Marines and medevacs still coming through. A couple widow mines as well. Zest is going to pull back to the upper right-hand side, get back up this ramp. Hang out between the bases again as this Immortal continues to move around as well. Another one in production, and we do have ByuN looking as though he wants to make a bit of a play up here as well. A couple shots going down. Marine gets killed off. Scan down and observer just there, and again a few extra gateways continuing to fall. So you have this +1 attack upgrade on our forge. Going to be done momentarily, guys. So at least Zest is catching up in one upgrade, even if he's about to fall behind on the armor. Yeah, honestly, kind of surprised ByuN hasn't been more aggressive. It really feels like the position he's in, the upgrade advantage he had, it would have been just like ByuN to go and jump on Zest and just try and end the game. I mean, not in a bad way either. Like, I think in this case, that's what ByuN does a lot. Maybe sometimes he loses because of it, but in this case, might have worked. Zest, you can see, just investing into static defense. Now this base maybe seems somewhat unkillable, or at least unharassable. And ByuN actually might have to hold back a little longer. Might have to hold it back a little more than what we were previously seeing. That's actually come across the map. They just walked straight through the center. They got past ByuN's forces, so nice little run by. SCVs have to pull, and a few of them will go down. They're pretty well handled. I mean, ByuN had a good amount of units back at home, so 6 workers lost. It's a fair amount of zealots that go down, so I don't hate it as initial force fields here are very good. You can see how much of the bio just isn't able to fight at all. It's not like there's a ton of zealots running to the front lines either, so a lot of that bio damage just really didn't come out here, and Zest has made a fantastic hold after a really, really good early game from ByuN. Zest is just in full-on recovery mode at this stage and is really looking fantastic, so credit to Zest. I really felt, especially of all players to be up against, ByuN is one of the guys you don't want to let back into a game like this, so it's very difficult to, stop from, getting into that early start, and if he gets there, usually wins. Now we're going to see this Bio army moving through, but these Immortals are so tanky. They're taking so many of the shots to get rid of, and while a lot of them do go down, that's good for ByuN. It keeps Zest alive again as he counterattacks in, and this is how he'll win this game. Counterattacks that overwhelm ByuN at home, while he isn't quite breaking through on the other side of the map. And yeah, ByuN is going to have to fully retreat to deal with this, but 13 workers have already gone down. You can see those Stalkers are still continuing to drop down as well. Okay, 15 workers go down. We see Zest is going to come back across over the right-hand side. 2-2 upgrades on the engineer base coming in. The +2 attack upgrade on the forge starting as well. Just mesmerized by these High Templar attacks. Not every day you get to see High Templars fire more than one shot of attacks. Usually by the time they fire an auto attack, they're dead. Because usually whatever they're firing an auto attack on kind of gets hit and they're like, what the hell, is that a fly? Oh no, it's a High Templar. Bam, 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 it goes down. ByuN will build a 4th base behind this, but I really do feel Zest is doing a great job of just building back into this game. Like I say, it's not easy. When ByuN gets a lead with this kind of style, usually he's a a fantastic player closing out the games, but yeah, credit to Zest. Scary enough that ByuN didn't attack in, and yeah, some respect from ByuN saying, just because I'm in a lead doesn't mean I can just kind of A-click into you with my stimmed bio. It's not quite as simple as that, but sometimes it feels like it when ByuN gets ahead early. Good Storms as well here from Zest, going into that typical Storm follow-up, and that really is good at kind of zoning the Terran player out, keeping them back. And that, because Zest has been able to get a good few High Templar up here, and he's been able to finish Storm without being under too much pressure, I really don't hate it, if I'm honest with you guys. Like, I really don't. In fact, I think it's been pretty A-okay for him. See another Nexus going to go down over here. Bio going to stim in again. Little Storm goes down. Marauder's taking some shots. Archon is going to get picked off, and these Stalkers are going to blink through, jumping in for the Marine Marauder force. Marauder's going to go jump and clean out these rocks, just cleaning that out, and we do have 3 upgrades on the way up on these engineering bays as well, +1 ship weapons coming through, the additional Ghost production coming in. Splitting the army up, at least ByuN, knowing that now maybe attacking 2 different sides is a better way to do this, especially when splash damage is involved, right? It's a little easier to move, and especially when it's on 4 bases, it's a little easier to move a Stalker Zealot army between a natural and a 3rd base. Much harder to move an army which has slow High Templars between those bases, especially when you stretch out from the 3rd to the 4th instead of just the 3rd to the natural. So definitely something to be said about that. Bio units making their way out down the bottom side, looking as though we're going to go push for the front. Bit of bio from ByuN out down the right, and Storm comes in and says, nuh-uh, not just yet. These Marines and Marauders on the load, and we'll see a Widow Mine picked off as one Marine goes down. Those few Stalkers still going to chase that Marauder away, and kaboom! Marauder is killed off. Woohoo! EMPs came down and kickstart this fight down. Here's the High Templar. Had to morph into Archon. Super Battery's going to do what it can, but this might just be a little bit too much bio with Widow Mines burrowing up as well. Oh, but here come the saviors of the Protoss. 2 Colossi come walking down this ramp, and that, for the moment, is enough to scare ByuN off. Well, let's go check in on this army. Zest is already warping in over here. Whether this is still a threat, has the Observer in position. Great map control from Zest, great awareness, and great knowing that, the moment one side lets up just means that there's another attack coming elsewhere. Really well handled. I mean, very well handled, actually. I mean, he's going to deal with a lot of these units very easily. At the same time, we go diving back in over here. Logify kicks off the game. Widow Mine's got burrowed. Don't think any of them got to fire. EMP hits the High Templar, but they had full energy, so there's still Storms available. And Zest is going to keep on pushing this back. Get out of my base, says Zest, as ByuN gets pushed the hell away. Nuh-uh, you're not allowed in over here, buddy. You are not allowed in over here, as you're just going to be seeing Zest continuing through up the left-hand side. Our 3-3 upgrades are still about to finish up from ByuN, so getting those completed as our Vikings, Marauders, and Marines will continue to come on through. Great defense again from Zest. Again, I think on that right side, dealing with that drop wonderfully really helped. Didn't lose anything in that process, basically. And then the Colossi showing up to this fight down on the bottom side was like, uh-oh. You know, makes life just a little tougher for ByuN, and really, really credit to Zest. He is putting in a fantastic defensive game off of such a terrible start. I know I keep coming back to it, but that's what makes this game so impressive. You know, if Zest was holding this off, you know, in a regular game, I'd be a bit more like, wow, you know, it's Zest, you know, he should be able to... But when he was holding this off from being so far behind a couple different times now... Yes, Zest knowing how to play defensively, leaning on that stack defense, really, you know, letting that do its work, which is really important. Getting the job done with the stack defense makes your life that much easier. So Zest is just playing it in the right way to survive, and he knows if he can survive and get maxed out, that gives him the best possible chance once again of actually being able to do something out on the map, which at this stage he might need to do. I mean, that Terran's got 4 bases, about to finish up a 5th base as well. Come through, just going to be seeing these Stalkers blinking through, Colossi firing. They have War Prism get shot down pretty quickly. Haven't seen a Storm land yet, I don't think, as looks like the EMPs were very good here. This is a good fight from ByuN, who comes out with just a massive bio, and I tell you what, those Zealots, they're tanky, but are they tanky enough to take on this much bio? Probably not. Just a little bit too much involved there. A couple of Archons at the front are going to be in some trouble now as well. An EMP goes down, helping to just delete one of them out of the equation. Now we do see the Zealots continue to run in reinforcements, but again, not enough. And the moment those Zealots go down, these Stalkers are in a heck load of trouble, because there are just so many Marauders in this army. They are going to shred the armored Stalkers. That bonus damage is going to resonate through that army and just, you know, pick it to pieces. So, looking a little bit tough. I mean, now ByuN's building Liberators, which I love as well. That EMP misses, this one hits, forces the Archon Wolf instead of saving energy for the Storms. I think you'd pretty much always rather deal with an Archon than potentially getting stormed. Absolutely. I would take that trade out any day of the week. Well, SCVs are going to go down the bottom left. That Planetary Fort just coming through. Just going to see a couple Disruptors on the way out. Ghosts will continue to build here. Additional Medivacs coming through too. By Libs with no +2 attack for air and no Lib range. I think because ByuN's just in a position where he doesn't need those. He maybe can harass with a couple of Libs. I think it's just that stage where just being able to zone a bit is good. You don't necessarily need Lib range to make Liberators good, you know? Like, would it help you get further forward here? Yes, but is it already still zoning the Protoss out a lot? Absolutely. As we see, that's the last Storm being used. The other High Templar got EMP. They're already becoming Archons. I tell a lie. A few of them coming in new now from the right-hand side. So a few Storms available, but there they go. They go down. Then there's the EMP to make sure that will be the last of them. Disrupt shot hits, though. And Disrupt is the new tool in this Zest army to try and, once again, let him survive that a little longer. 18 minutes, 14 of which have been talking about how Zest is staying alive, recovering, and hitting Disruptor shots that might just let him live for longer. Kills off a whole bunch of the Ghosts. In fact, another Disruptor shot does amazingly. Biggest issue at the moment is there's just no way to get on top of these Liberators. The Stalkers can't justify the blink in. They know they'll get shredded by the bio units. So they can't justify the blink in. And everything else just continues to gather up together once again as well. As Disruptor shot flies, does not connect. These Libs are going to turn around. Disruptors not really being denied properly. I mean, ByuN definitely having a much tougher time closing this game out than expected for what, like the 3rd time now? EMP is going down, and you can see the Stalkers obviously hit by that suddenly really do drop that much faster. I'll scan off to the left side, and that's going to be the Observer picked off too, so just removing a little bit of additional vision. Anything ByuN can do to improve his position is behind all of this. ByuN, you know, unharassed, goes to 5 bases, you know, probably has potential to build a base up here. He's actually going to float out the main base orbital toward that 6th base, so just continue to expand around. Obviously, an orbital on an external base isn't great, but in a game where Zest at this stage hasn't really put any counter damage on for about 5 minutes or so, you probably get away with this as ByuN, so may as well give it a go, may as well give it a try. Has our fusion core coming through, so +2 ship weapons, etc. really starting to improve these Liberators a little bit. The fusion core opening up the possibility of advanced ballistics as well, and giving us that Liberator range, which you guys in the chat want to see oh so badly. here for ByuN. So ByuN just maybe a little slow to get there. Maybe could have done this a little bit sooner, but we'll get there toward the end of this. Here comes actually a Zealot run by. I was just saying we haven't seen one of them in a while as we push on in. Disruptors kind of everywhere, making it difficult to just run away even, because you got to run away from to the left-hand side rather than just being able to pull back. I mean, Disruptor shot's still going through. The rest of the Bio going to jump on forwards. Just going to go after the rest of this. So, continuing to trade pretty well. 2 additional Stalkers coming in. Another round of them going to walk in on the left-hand side as well. A couple libs firing through. Flippers are getting shot down. I mean, the ByuN's still trying to unload on this as well. There goes a Disruptor here. Gets shot down immediately. I was just going to see the rest of our Bioforces still pushing through this. Those couple Disruptors still going down. I think this is maybe going to be it for Zest. I actually don't know what he can really bring to the table anymore. Warping of Zealots, that won't even finish. And ByuN is going to win this first game after 21 minutes of trying. And ByuN really had the aggressive lead and the aggressive opportunity for pretty much the entirety of this. You know, ByuN really was in the driver's seat from the early stages. He really was the one making a lot of the initial moves, etc. GG out of ByuN, and able to pick up the first game of this best of 3 with a game number 2 coming up in a few moments' time. Let's jump into that and have a look to see how that is looking. Join us. Appreciate you all tuning in for a few replays today. It's good to get through a few of these and just get some content made and all that good stuff. So thanks for dropping by, guys. Appreciate you all being here. And let's go is to the top right-hand side. I read Protoss player from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Give it up if you're cheering on Zest. Up against the blue Terran player in the top bottom left-hand side of the map. This is ByuN. Trying to make sound effects with my hand. I'm like, Zest. And then I don't know how to explain how I did the ByuN one. It got very complicated. I almost forgot to actually show ByuN on the screen. ByuN is going to proxy T-Rex, guys. And he is going to get aggressive. This has become very popular again in TvP. This T-Rex proxy play. And using that to your advantage. Using that to delay a natural. Maybe sometimes get a cancel or a kill. And sometimes things can get out of hand and the game can just straight up end when you go for this T-Rex opening. I think that's one of the important things to note as well as this probe! Oh my goodness. I was just reading a YouTube comment earlier which said Overlords have -1 vision when barracks are in range, and it was in response to obviously like a proxy T-Rex and TVC, but it feels like just in general anything has -1 vision when barracks are proxied on the map, you know? It's like the special ability of the barracks card. It's like you play the proxy Rax card, it's like an activated special ability. -1 vision. And then you just don't see it. It's like, god damn it, that's crazy, right? That is freaking crazy. Bunker goes down from ByuN in the front of the Naturals. Gets that set up as a Marine. Gonna tag up this probe. Probe is gonna pull back a little bit, and Nexus still building on the Natural as well. We do have the Stalker of Zest. Chronoboost now going to be rallying through to try and come into a defense of this, but Bunker's going to go up no issue at all, so at the very least this Natural's in trouble, and a lot of this is going to come down to what happens there. Now look at this from Zest. He's going to have this gateway across the map, going to add on one more, very reminiscent of that TY parting game when there was a proxy in play. Obviously that was just one Rax proxy. This is 2 Rax proxies and now a factory at home. Uh-oh, we've got a Bunker in the main base though, and that's going to buy the Marines sometimes where they can fight the probes without the Stalker being an issue. So yeah, a little bit annoying there, and man, these Marines are going to go to town as well. 7 workers already down, 8, probably at least 10, right? Let's say at least 10, easily 11, 12. I'm running out of fingers here, guys. In fact, I think I've lost all my fingers already counting past 12. Okay, a second SCV goes down. This Bunker will be denied, but there's still the low ground Bunker too. Zest cancels that Nexus a little while back, and will prepare his attack on this other side, but a Bunker coming up, a tech lab coming through on the factory, and defensively, it looks as though ByuN is getting set up in the right kind of way. So we're going to patrol a little bit. Cyclone is on the way out from ByuN as the Adept Putting a shade up here does come through and fires a few shots off. The bunker taking some damage. Depots taking a hit or two as well. Michael, the Stalkers from Zest just going to warp in here and they're going to start their advance. Well, a couple Marines will actually make it to the bunker at least, so obviously with the bunker in play, it's going to become very tough, and Zest just types GG. I mean, I think Zest is obviously behind. Does he just assume because the Marines are in the bunker and there's a Cyclone out, he can't win this? Just going to rewind and have a look at this. Yeah, the Marines are coming back. He has this pylon battery coming through. Problem is, Zest never rebuilt probes, right? So he's slowly rebuilding, but he has no expansion. You can just start and expand. Cyclone out. So the Cyclone pops. You kill off this Adept. Doesn't get... Well, he doesn't even kill the Adept before Zest leaves. He just sees a Cyclone. I mean, I get it. Like, I don't think you break down the bunker, but can't Zest just try to expand? I mean, 8 probes down, I guess not. Yeah, it just kind of ended a little sooner than expected. The damage that ByuN managed to get out of the proxy actually really shone, you know? Did a really good job. Alright, well that's going to be GGGG's. And we will call that game number 2. ByuN 2-0 here over Zest in this one. Let's dive into another